Guys, remember that short I posted yesterday? I was going to explain to you why I got these permanently scribed marks in the fence of my miter saw. Well, it's for doing repetitive block cutting without needing a jig. So pretty much how it works is you measure your board. Okay, so I got my tape measure, not a recon, just a tape measure. Measure my measurements. Okay, now I bring my board down to my measurement. Okay, I got my board on my measurement. Now I can adjust my fence. Now see how I do it is I adjust it to the first mark in. So now whenever I need to cut a board, okay, all I do is I put my board up, I line it to that mark. And with the 10-inch Metabo, I can go up to 35-inch on my cut because it got the marks on the side here. And it works great because if you even have shorter pieces, the reason why it's got multiple marks is that way if I'm going to cut a shorter piece, I can adjust my fence to that. And all I have to remember is which mark I have to line it up to. That's all I got to do is just measure it up. And if I'm cutting a long board, like up to 35 inches, all I do is just extend my fence all the way out both sides. And then I can go up to my 35-inch, but I can adjust my boards for cutting those pieces. So, say I've got a piece that I can't use my fence for, so I'm going to set it out. So say I'm like 22 inches. Okay, so I'm going to set this end to my. I'm going to cut a piece at my 32 inches. I'm going to set this one here at the 1-inch inline mark. I'm going to set this one here to the 1-inch inline mark. So now all I have to do is I just have to take my timber up, throw it in, line it up between those, make my mark, slide it over, cut it. Slide the next piece in, line it up to those marks, and cut it. By having this here, it actually speeds up your process without having to measure repetitively or set up a jig or having to write a little line on your table saw and having to wipe it out with your finger all the time or that. You got permanent marks here, and all you do is just adjust your fence to the end of your cut. Or if you got longer pieces, longer than the 18 inches that this will do, then you can use your full miter saw. And the average miter saw will do up to 35 inches. So, and when you're just doing block cuts for doing blocking on your floor joists or your walls, comes in really handy, comes in really fast. And that way I'm not measuring all the time and stuff like that. No, I don't need a fancy recon to do it. I don't need no fancy jigs or anything like that. I just got permanently scribed marks on my fence. All I did is I just took my scribe and I scribed lines on it 1 inch at 1-inch intervals, going 8 inches in on both sides of the fence. It was actually really simple. And like I said, it helps speed up your cutting process when you're doing blocking. Because now all you have to do is just line it up to your mark. Or if you're doing a longer piece, line it up to both your marks. Mark it, slide it, cut it. Put your piece of board in. Mark it, cut it, slide it. Done. In and out really fast with no jig, nothing fancy. Like, it's simple. I've been doing this to all my miter saws since the miter saw was invented. So hopefully this tip comes in handy for you guys. And if you're out in the field, get out there with the scribe some 1-inch intervals on your fence, and bam, you're laughing.